Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bird Notice. Billy here. Leading off, Felix Bautista is out until the end of time. Adley is injured and reportedly on the trade block. And Samuel Basallo signs an 8-year contract extension. But Ryan, what episode number is this?
This is episode number 91, which has been worn by only one Oriole, and that is David Banuelos. Banuelos was drafted by the Mariners in the 5th round in 2017 out of Cal State Long Beach. The California native was later traded to the Twins in 2017, later that year. Is that still allowed? I don't remember. I think we talked about this.
Traded after you're drafted?
Yeah, he was drafted in June and then traded in December.
Oh, I think it got re-allowed after it hadn't been allowed for a long time.
Okay. Anyways, I digress. After spending several years in the Twins system and not cracking the major leagues, he signed with the Orioles as a free agent in December of 2023 and then made his long-awaited major league debut at the age of 27 in 2024. Only called up as an emergency catcher a couple of times by the Orioles, Banuelos has totaled a total of 2 games with 3 plate appearances. He has no hits, no walks, 1 strikeout, and is basically a 4A guy. But as far as emergency catchers go, I think we are pro David Banuelos. Do you have a piece of Banuelos memorabilia?
I do. I have an autographed baseball card I bought this year. It was like, I don't know, $5 or $7. Like a rookie. Let me see if I have it up here. I never buy cards either. This is like the first card I bought in like 20, probably 30 years.
And it was Banuelos.
Yeah, somebody posted it somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, I will buy that." It's autographed. It's a Topps Chrome rookie card. There were 99 of them, and I have the 30th one.
Nice.
It says on the back, though David's middle name, Clemente, is for his father and not the famed ball player, it fits. Mm-hmm. He's earned community service honors during his time in the minors. You can make a big impact in a person's life just with the title that you have, Banuelos says. Just taking a couple of seconds out of your day can make a little kid's day or year.
I like that. I did notice the middle name thing. I looked it up, saw that it was not for Roberto. But I like that quote from him. Seems like a good guy.
I have to be honest. So I bought that card, and that was the first time I bothered to read the back of it. So.
Looking at his numbers, they're not good. So he must just be a good dude, good teammate type person.
That is a great way to extend your career. He's not in the Orioles' plans at all. It's obvious. I mean, but to be the emergency catcher and travel with the team for like 2 weeks at a time and just, be on call basically, that's a good way to extend your career. Maybe stumble your way into a game, which is fun. He's done that at least twice now.
Yeah. Got nothing against him. He fills his role, which is emergency call-up.
I feel like we're the emergency call-ups of Orioles podcast. Like, I bet we get listened to when people are caught up on all the other shows and like, I guess I'll do Bird Notice this week.
Yeah, or one of them doesn't record for a week or something that we fill in.
Yeah, Banuelos. I could see him being a bullpen catcher in his career at some point as well, like Yogi Polanco.
Yeah. Yeah, extend your career, become kind of a pseudo coach back there. Speaking of catchers, I think that's a good segue.
That's a great segue. He will not be taking time from Samuel Basallo anytime soon. Where were you when you learned of his contract extension?
I was at home on my phone, and the first time I saw it, I was like, I think this is a prank. Like, this is not a real account saying Basallo was signed to an 8-year extension. And I went and confirmed it, and I honestly couldn't believe it. Like, that's not something the Orioles do.
I had a similar reaction, but in a different way. I learned about it from your text message, and I saw the link to Andy Koska's Blue Sky post, and two words jumped out to me, and those were extension and catcher. And then I saw your caption of, "Oh my God, they did it." And my first thought was, please don't mean Adley got extended.
Right.
Like, that would be funny if the first extension we get is kind of the guy who is reportedly on the trade block all of a sudden. I guess we'll get to that at some point. He's affected by this, but I was very relieved when I saw it was Basallo who got the extension. It seems like a no-brainer guy. It seems like this is the only guy that would work with. I don't think any of the other, like, if you're a Gunner and you hire Scott Boras to be your agent, you can say all the things you want, but your actions speak louder than your words, and you're not interested in signing an extension if you hire Scott Boras as your agent.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And, we've talked before about Holiday and how his family's already rich, so I don't think he would do it. I don't know, maybe somebody like a Kauser or a Westberg could be next, but it is really cool to see that they actually care enough to do something like this, because I was convinced for a while that was never going to happen.
Yeah, Westberg and Kauser would probably be my next two picks realistically, because Holiday, like we said, and then Adley is washed. Trevor Rogers, you could give him extension now.
Oh, geez, yeah.
It's just wild to say. That might be the craziest thing I've ever seen following the Orioles, is this Trevor Rogers run.
Apparently his velo was down today across the board. He still pitched well. I don't know if that means something bad is coming. Being an Orioles fan in 2025 makes me think that will happen, but
yeah, it seems like he's had an anvil over his head with all these starts. But yeah, this Basallo thing, it's exciting. Would you say he's the most important player on the team now? Because I would.
What do you mean by most important?
Just, he's the guy. Like, it's not his team obviously yet. That's probably a few years away, but he's the guy they're going to have to market. He's the guy fans can buy a jersey and feel good about, that he's going to be there for, the better part of a decade. He's the guy. He's going to be in the middle of the lineup pretty soon. He's not going back down to the minors after this. That's for sure.
It is kind of funny to think about how, the guys we just talked about, there's probably a couple that aren't interested in signing an extension, and there's probably a couple that actually would like to. And then you put Basallo in the middle of that group, and it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it happened so quick too. I'm still kind of flabbergasted it happened. That's pretty cool. All the players went to his press conference too.
I like that. And, we've also said before, if you offer a, 21, 22-year-old, like $67 million for 8 years, like he'll still be in his prime when he's a free agent. It's hard to say no to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would never say no to that. I'd say sign me up.
I still think Max Scherzer's an idiot for turning down his offer from the Tigers, but he was proven correct by like $100 million with that decision. And I still don't understand how he turned that down. I don't understand. But that's, I'm not in the business, so.
I think, I've heard this before in terms of even hockey, which, they don't make much at all relative to the other big sports, but that becomes kind of a competitive thing off the ice, is your contract. And some guys will hold out for more because they want to be seen as in the same echelon or better than others, whereas a guy like Basallo, like us, is probably like, screw it. Like, you're going to give me almost $70 million guaranteed. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's just an ego thing, I guess, involved in sports.
Right.
Yeah, the salaries look crazy too. He makes $1 million in each of the next 3 seasons, and $4 million in 2029 and $7 million in 2030. That's under $10 million a year for the rest of the decade.
Even if he becomes a first baseman, hits like 20 homers a year, I feel like that covers it. Especially with inflation, which sounds like a nerdy ass thing to say, but like contracts keep going up. So
yeah, his 2030 salary is basically what Jorge Mateo's option is for next season.
Right.
Yeah, he seems like the safest guy to do this with too. He's gonna hit, like you said. Even if he's a first baseman, he's gonna hit. He could be a DH at this rate, and like look at how much Devers was getting from the Red Sox to be a DH.
Right.
He's making like a fourth of that.
From what I read, I highly doubt Basallo stays a catcher long term, which is fine. But that's another reason why I think the Adley trade block reports are bogus.
Yeah, let's get into that. Bob Nightengale reported that Adley will be one of the biggest names on the trade block this year. Do you think it's bogus? I do not. I think this is totally possible.
I think it's very convenient for him to say that because of the extension just signed. Like, I don't follow the guy. I also know that he has a reputation for kind of saying stuff that doesn't end up being true. But because of the fact that Basallo he's like 6'5", he's like a Wieters type, and Wieters didn't play catcher his whole career. You know, he's not probably a long-term answer behind the plate. And the biggest thing is that Rutschman's value, in my opinion, could not be any lower right now. So why would you trade him this offseason? Unless somebody wants to pay him for what they think he could be or what he has been in the past. And I highly doubt that's going to happen.
So I think I agree with everything with Basallo, possibly not being a catcher. I don't think that's the only reason why these Adley rumors are out there now. What sells me on the Adley rumors possibly being true is they drafted Ethan Anderson at number 61 last season. They drafted Caden Bodine at number 30 this year. I mean, Ike Irish could end up back behind the plate. I know he's supposed to be an outfielder, but, you know, that could change, obviously. So they keep drafting catchers, at least Bodine and Anderson the last 2 years. So that tells me Adley has been somewhat underwhelming to the front office to some extent. I know they love collecting catchers. That's why Bonuelos has a job. But yeah, I just think Adley's overrated. He's basically like the Dean Kramer of catchers. And I don't think his value is the lowest it'll ever be. In some ways, it might be the highest it will ever be with the Orioles because he'll be 2 years away from free agency next season. So, like, if you take him another year closer to free agency and he has another year like he's had the last year and a half, he'll really be not fetching much in a return in that case.
That's a good point about the years. I didn't think of that. I do think drafting catchers is a bit like drafting goalies in hockey. Like, I feel like you should take one or two every year because you never know how they're going to pan out. And it does seem like a lot of guys drafted as catchers don't stick there. And you almost never see somebody drafted at another position be moved to catcher. So I feel like when you build that in, you're like, we'll draft 3 catchers, and then in 5 years, maybe one of them still is. And it's just a position that's pretty scarce, and you need to build that into your planning.
Yeah, Elias definitely likes collecting catchers, even just for Norfolk. That's why he's always claiming catchers off waivers, and you'll see a guy end up on the active roster for a week while they wait to DFA him because he really just wanted him for Norfolk and not for the Orioles. Like Terrens last year, and people were freaking out. Why are they carrying 3 catchers? Like, he's going to DFA him. Just, you have to wait a day or two. But, yeah, I could definitely see Adley being traded, especially with Alex Jackson performing so well this year. And, I doubt they would bring Sanchez back for any reason next year, but
I kind of already forgot about him.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see Adley being traded for. Like, they need pitching any way they can get it, and it's an easy trade to make if you ask me. Like, Adley just, I don't want to say he wore out his welcome or anything, but he just hasn't done what he's supposed to do as a whole. Like, there's more leadership questions this week. We'll get to that in a little bit. Like, Adley hasn't taken control of this team the way we thought he was going to, especially after we saw what he did in 2022 when he debuted and the team just started winning. It just hasn't happened. So if you want to cash in with 2 years left, I don't think it's the worst idea.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if they get a good offer, I'm not opposed to trading him at all because I agree that he has been pretty underwhelming. But I also wonder the way he's hit for the past year plus and all the injuries he's had this year, like how many teams are going to be lining up to trade for a guy like that?
Yeah, that's the question. How many of them are really paying attention? But he'll be like affordable. I don't like he's going to be under $10 million, right?
You would think so, but I don't know. Maybe that catcher premium gets him, or his draft pedigree. Maybe he should be trying to sign an extension now while people still think he's good. You know?
So he made $5.5 million this year. So you figure he'll be making at least 7 next year in arbitration. But I mean, his numbers in arbitration aren't going to back it up. Like he didn't even make an All-Star team this year.
No. I wonder if he's a candidate like Mullins to stop switch hitting too.
Yeah, that weird left-handed swing. It just I don't know if the coaches told him to start trying to hit for power or what, but somewhere along the way he just stopped being Adley Rutschman.
Maybe the pressure got to him. Not that there really is that much even in Baltimore, but people thinking that he's the next big thing, and or maybe he likes being the only one. And once guys like Gunnar and Westberg came along, I'm obviously just throwing shit at the wall. I know absolutely nothing, but
No, yeah, we're just speculating on the
he
Bob
seems like a
Nightengale
nice
report.
guy. I don't dislike him as a person. He's just not that great of a player for a first overall pick.
Yeah, if he came back next year, I would not be upset at all. He's someone you want on your team, but at the same time, if you feel like you have that position covered for the next decade with Basallo and some cheap backup like Alex Jackson or Maverick Handley, God forbid. But like, I don't even know how they're going to fit Adley at DH next year as much as they have been the last 2 years. If Mayo is back and Adley and Tyler O'Neill's probably going to have to play DH because his neck's always going to be injured.
Mountcastle.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mountcastle back next year.
Now, I wonder if they think Adley can start hitting again. Do you think they start training up him and Basallo at first base? Or do you think they just alternate DH and put Mayo at first and get rid of Mountcastle?
Yeah, that's if I were planning on bringing Adley back. Sorry, Mountie, you gotta go, and then just Adley and Basallo would be the catching tandem. And I don't know though, would that be risky having one play at DH and then one at catcher? I guess you could put. Can you put a DH in the field mid game?
I think you lose your DH when you do that, so the pitcher would have to bat once you do that.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
That's what happened at that Rangers game I went to like a month ago where Rogers had to bat. I think it was because I'm trying to remember even who was catching, but whoever it was, it might not even have been catcher. Somebody got hurt. I don't remember.
Yeah, Adley's just declined every year. He's probably going to play less than 100 games this year. I don't know how much longer he's going to be out. There's no reason to rush him back at this point either.
No, definitely not. If anything, he might want to be rushed back to try to put some numbers up before the offseason.
Yeah, he's slashing 227, 310, 373. His OPS is 684. His OPS was 806 in 2022, 809 in 23, 709 in 24, and 684 this year.
Yeah, that's a massive drop off. I don't know off the top of my head any good examples of guys who started out really hot and didn't really make much of a career, but like I know it's happened. I know that he's not the only one to have peaked early. If you go back and look at the rookie of the year list, there's a lot of guys who are like, really, that guy never amounted to much, but they had a good first season or two or whatever. So It's possible he's one of them.
Yeah. So I know you don't think they will trade him. Do you think they should trade him though?
I won't say I think they should. That's a good question.
I would say they should only if it's for like a top of the rotation starter.
I was going to say, if they get pitching for him, I would say you should, but of course we don't know that. Honestly, if the Orioles trade for anything other than pitching, it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, they showed that at the deadline this year, at least. That is kind of their thinking too. Just build some pitching up.
Right. There's got to be some teams who are pretty good who don't really have a everyday catcher that I don't feel like sitting around and thinking about it, but
I'm sure he'd be coveted around the league for sure. I mean, it's easy to be down on him as an Orioles fan now because you've just haven't seen him be himself since pre-July of last season. And
yeah, I think it's been over a year since he's been like actually decent.
Yeah, I have more on him later. I'll get to that. It's not good. Spoiler alert. The only other roster move was Josh Walker was claimed off waivers from the Phillies, option to Norfolk. Any thoughts on that?
No idea who that is. Is he related to Larry? Or Herschel?
Or what's Chuck Norris's Walker,
Texas Ranger?
Yeah, I'm just sure someone somewhere thinks that Elias can fix this guy and contribute to next season's bullpen. And if that's you, I suggest you seek help. Yeah, do you have any other Basallo thoughts? We'll have more on Basallo throughout. He played every game this week pretty much.
Except the game where they announced he was extended. He just pinch hit at the end.
Yeah, that bothered me at first, but then I realized it wasn't official yet because Saturday was the day of the press conference. So like Friday was still technically a
right. They're like, don't tear your ACL now, or we're not.
Yeah, I bet that's what it was. It's just like the worst kept secret, but yeah, don't let him get hurt before the press conference. I bet when he had to go in the game, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, he kind of felt that way too.
Yeah, so that brings us to Monday. What was this, August 18th? Trevor Rogers versus Dustin May, recently acquired from the Dodgers by the Red Sox. Gunnar Henderson would hit a solo shot off May in the third inning. That would tie Jackson Holliday and Cedric Mullins for the team lead with 15 home runs on August 18th.
Wow, that's outstanding. One of those dudes hasn't been on the Orioles in like 3 weeks either.
And the other one's 17 years old.
Can't even drive. He doesn't have a permit yet.
His dad has to drive him to the games. That's where he gets his hitting instructions.
Yeah, right. No, he actually does, which is a sad thing. In the top of the fourth, the aforementioned Samuel Basallo doubled to left field. Jeremiah Jackson singled. So with runners on second and third, Dylan Beavers came up and singled to score Basallo. Next three batters wouldn't do anything, but the O's were up 2-0.
Yeah, that's Dylan Beavers' first career RBI. Jeremiah Jackson, Dylan Beavers, and Samuel Basallo have made his team like 500% more watchable this month.
But even then, I'm still kind of
it's still not good. Yeah, it was a low bar.
Machine and Vasquez and like a bunch of dudes that I'm just like, why am I watching this?
Everybody but Tyler O'Neill.
Yes.
That guy fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he's hanging out with Gary Sanchez and like the forgettable offseason signings crew.
They're in what's that, like waiting room in Quantum Leap where they go wait?
I don't think I've seen that.
For when the leap takes place, they have to go sit, and I forget what it's called, but yeah, that's where O'Neill and Sanchez are. I didn't watch a whole lot of Quantum Leap, just enough to know they like waited in a white room.
Or they're hanging out with Gibson. He retired. He's probably got a nice house.
I saw a hilarious stat today about Gibson.
I think I know what you're gonna. It's about how many runs he gave up compared to Rogers.
Yeah. Here it is. It's Trevor Rogers has allowed 13 runs in 83 and a third innings. Kyle Gibson allowed 23 runs in 12 and a third innings. That's from Matt Kremnitzer.
Those are facts.
Yeah. But Dustin May would finish with a quality start. His second and 3 starts with Boston. Moran is the reliever in the 7th. He immediately walks Jackson Holliday. This was not a good night for the Boston bullpen. Gunnar would hit an RBI triple. Holliday scored. Mountcastle would bring in Gunnar with a single. Orioles are up 4-0.
Bottom of the 7th, the Sox got 1 on the board. Bregman walked. Story doubled. So with runners on second and third, Jaron Duran hit a sac fly to score Bregman. It was 4-1 Orioles.
Jordan Hicks is in for the 9th. He was acquired in the Devers trade from the Giants. He has been atrocious all season. With Boston since being acquired, 16 games, a 6.60 ERA.
Ooh.
He is making a lot of money to have a combined negative 1.5 WAR with the Giants and Red Sox this season.
He was a reliever for the Cardinals, and then the Giants made him a starter, and he was actually like half decent. And he's back in the bullpen now, and apparently stinks.
Yeah, I think he ran out of gas.
His thing is throwing very hard, right?
Yeah, he's got some stuff that is fun to watch play, but they got to get him back right for if they're going to make the playoffs, I guess, because you can't DFA him at that salary.
You know who I didn't realize was doing so well this year is Chapman. His numbers are crazy good.
Oh, his stuff looks even better. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Chapman, I don't want to gush about him too much, but
no, I mean, he's a shitty person, but he's a very good baseball player.
He throws the ball unlike anybody on the planet almost.
It's like Kenny Powers.
He's the Cuban Kenny Powers.
Throw the ball faster than fuck.
Was just nasty movement. He's so tall, too. Yeah. Luis Vasquez would lead off the 9th with a double. Hicks would get Gunnar. He would hit Gunnar on the first pitch of his at-bat. Mountcastle and Cowser strike out. Hicks then threw a wild pitch, so both runners move into scoring position for Samuel Basallo. He'd hit a single. Makes the game 6-1, but with this bullpen, no lead feels safe.
Yeah, that was Dietrich Enns for the first batter. He allowed a Roman Anthony single and was replaced by Yanier Cano. He got Bregman, but then walked a batter, and with 2 outs, Jaron Duran doubled to score Anthony and Nathaniel Lowe, recently picked up from the Nationals, and it was 6-3 Orioles. But then Cano got Cedang Rafaela to ground out to end the game and get an Orioles victory.
Yeah, good win. Roman Anthony, he was extended too.
Yeah. I remember sarcastically being like, imagine extending a good young player, and the Orioles actually followed suit, and they got him cheaper than Anthony, I think, for like significantly. Like, not that matters, and who knows how it'll turn out, but just interesting.
Yeah, it's a wow. The extension is a wow. I had given up on I didn't know the front office really even wanted to do them at this point, but I guess they do.
Right.
Rubenstein said they want to do more.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Anthony's contract is nearly double what Basallo got.
Wow. That's crazy. They're the same age.
67 over 8 years for Basallo and 130 over 8 years for Anthony.
Yeah, this Basallo one seems relatively low risk even. It's the 4th largest in team history, which is funny.
Right. They clearly like the bat, and as we all know, if you can hit, they'll find a way to put you in the lineup.
Yeah, thank God for the DH.
Oh, speaking of Rafaela, I learned just today that he has like, several names, but one of his middle names is Chipper, after Chipper Jones.
Oh, wow. Is he born in America?
No, he's from like Curacao or something.
Okay.
Or Aruba or one of those islands.
Yeah, I thought so. But yeah, wow. Chipper Rafaela. 3 stars. The 3rd star I gave to Gunnar, 2 for 4, 3 runs, 1 RBI. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters were the 2nd star. That's Basallo, Jeremiah Jackson, and Beavers. 3 rookies. They combined to go 6 for 12, 3 RBI, 2 walks. This is the third straight multi-hit game for Jeremiah Jackson. This guy makes Jorge Mateo look like Jorge Mateo. He's earning a spot on next year's team, like without a doubt.
Well, without a doubt to us, who knows what they'll actually do, but.
And the first star, Trevor Rogers. He's been so good that I feel like someone is fucking with me.
You know, I was reading some of his like peripherals and his advanced stats aren't great, and he's just getting great results, which, of course, he's not, you know, Sandy Koufax or Bob Gibson. Like, his numbers will regress, but it is very fun to watch, and he is doing very well.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real. At one point, he went 13 consecutive batters with a first pitch strike. He tied Eric Bedard with 5 consecutive starts of at least 6 innings and 1 earned run.
So they're going to trade him for Adam Jones?
I would not be surprised.
George Sherrill, Chris Tillman. That was actually an excellent trade for the Orioles.
Yeah. But they weren't contending then the way they're supposed to, you know, quote unquote, supposed to be in this window next season.
Yes, that is true.
Carlson and Kauser, they combined to go 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts. That's not good. Westberg left with an ankle injury. I don't think he's played since.
Man, he has been fragile this year. Talk about injuries with Adley. Like, he and Westberg both have just been like, it's one thing then another with them. And Kauser's been hurt a bunch. Like, all those dudes.
Yeah, these guys aren't Nick Markakis. I'll say that.
Right.
Then we had some weird leadership comments again from post-game from Gunnar and Jordan Westberg the next day in a published article by the Banner. How does this keep happening?
Good question.
Like, I've never seen this on a team before. This is usually something you see like years later in a documentary, like, oh, they didn't get along, or
right.
I don't know. I'm gonna sound hyperbolic here, but one of my Twitter posts last season, which was about Austin Hayes after the trade deadline, do you remember the response that generated? It was wild. It was like a full weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that kind of kicked off this discussion, like at least in the Twitter realm of possible leadership stuff. And I know it came up again with Hyde earlier this season, commenting Kyle Gibson being an adult in the room in the article that was published about him calling the team or saying that the league thought the team was soft. And I don't know. Just keep the shit in house at this point. Like, it's embarrassing on so many levels. It's embarrassing to the team. It's embarrassing to the front office. It's embarrassing for the fans to have to breathe.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that there were comments about the leadership before and after the trade deadline. Because it seemed like they traded a lot of their veterans at the deadline, which they did. But that apparently hasn't changed anything. Meaning, I don't know. How much do you read into that? Like, was O'Hearn and Mullins and Laureano not leaders beforehand? Or were they saying, you know, you guys are going to have to step up, and now that they're gone, they're like, oh shit, it's our turn and we're not ready for it still?
Yeah, that's where I feel like the disconnect is. Like, how has this not been figured out? And now that those guys did get traded, and it kind of sounds like you're crying about having to grow up, so to speak. Like,
right.
Gunnar had, at Basallo's press conference, Gunnar was asked his thoughts on possibly signing his own extension, and his response was, quote, "If they bring it there, then I'll definitely look at it with my team and be happy to look at it. I want to be in a winning culture. That's the number one thing for me. Losing doesn't sit well with me. I want to be in a place where I can win, and hopefully they'll continue to show that." And look, I place most of this blame for the mess of the season on Elias, specifically for not drafting pitchers, you know, for the first 5 years before round 5. But the players are not blameless in this. They fucked this up too. The leading home run guy has 15 home runs. Like,
yeah, I mean, most of them have been bad.
Yeah, nobody has stepped up to the plate. Like, Gunnar, you are one of the guys who should be building the culture that you want to see exist.
It should be his team. Like, even though he's young, and clearly not everybody is cut out for certain roles in leadership, but the way he plays on the field looks like he should be a leader.
Yeah, Elias can bring in all the blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boys he wants, but eventually, like, Gunnar, the way he plays, is going to have to demand the same intensity from his teammates, or just nothing's going to get done with this current roster. Like Westberg too, in that article the next day, he should be one of the guys too. This shouldn't be, hey, front office, bring in veteran leadership. It should be, we're going to step up and we're going to build the culture we want to be a part of.
I wonder though, like we were talking earlier with extensions, and I know we've brought it up this season, like if they gave an extension to a Gunnar or a Westberg, would that give them the license, so to speak, to become a leader and say, hey, I'm here for the long term, like I want to win on the Orioles, so this is what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, that's why I kind of feel like Basallo is the most important guy on the team now, but it's also unrealistic to expect
it would be
this
funny
kind of stuff from him now.
If he came in and just started yelling at people.
As a 21-year-old with like 10 games under his belt.
Right. It's like, I'm here for the next 8 years. Nobody else here can say that.
Yeah, this stuff just got me. And as someone who was like in early on this, the fact that it's even bigger, louder, confirmed, the questions on this is just frustrating. There were people I got called a conspiracy theorist like once or twice last year. There were Orioles. There's an Orioles podcast who commented on this last year and basically was like, if you think this is true, you're an idiot. It's confirmed now. It's out there. The players are crying about it.
Yeah, you're right.
The 1 year deals that Elias was giving out to guys like Jordan Lyles and Kyle Gibson and Adam Frazier, who am I forgetting?
Kyle Gibson again and
yeah,
Sugano.
Odor. Yeah, those Band-Aids were never going to work. And basically what he was doing with those was buying time for these guys to step up. And I just step the fuck up. Those comments from Gunnar, I was like, come on, dude, you're supposed to be the guy here.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Betts was kind of telling him this last year too, in a podcast he did with him.
Did you mention that?
No, I don't think I did, but I remember seeing it. But at that time, I was like, Gunnar's still young. Like the team still is Mullins and O'Hearn and some of the other guys who were recently traded. And Adley should have been stepping up too then. But it just seems like none of these guys want to do the dirty work of building a culture.
They need to get Adam Jones in that clubhouse and sit down with some of those guys. Like I would say Cal, but like he turned 65 today, so happy birthday to him. But Adam Jones is still younger, and somebody like him needs to be like, hey, this is how we do things around here. This is how you step up. This is how you be a leader.
Not having a real manager doesn't help either. Someone posted that Tony Manzolino looks like, what's his name, Squeak from Basketball.
I've never seen that movie, but I saw the post, and whoever it was looked similar.
It's a fun movie. You should check it out. Real Big Fish is in it. It's worth it for that alone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do agree on the manager thing though, because you would think that certain managers will make sure that their core, so to speak, is a group of leaders, or that they know they need to be.
Yeah, I don't hate Manzolino. I don't think he should be the manager next season, but I think he's done a better job than Brandon Hyde. Like even just for calling a bunt and intentionally walking guys, things Hyde refused to do.
Yeah. Watching the game with Manzolino is more fun. I know nothing about what goes on behind closed doors, but I wouldn't hate it if he was retained, but also I wouldn't mind if they got somebody with a little more pedigree. But at the same time, that's how anybody breaks into the game, right? Like there's all types of young managers and coaches in other sports that get their first gig and it turns out great. Sometimes it doesn't, but who knows with Manzolino? That's something that Elias is going to have to figure out.
Yeah, I wouldn't advocate for Manzolino being the full-time manager. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, and I also wouldn't hate it, but I don't think he should be. So I think they need to get some baseball people in this organization. These nerds at the top just hiring yes men to carry out their spreadsheets isn't working.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that took us to Tuesday. Sugano versus Walker Buehler.
Walker Buehler pitched the game I saw in Atlanta earlier this year, and he got destroyed.
Yeah, he got moved to the bullpen after the start.
Yeah, neither pitcher was great, but the bottom of the third, the Red Sox got Connor Wong on base to lead off. He moved over to second base and then to third on a ground out. With Trevor Story at the plate, Sugano balked, and that scored Wong for the first run of the game. And I think I heard on the broadcast that was the first balk of Sugano's career ever. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess it was from the disengagement thing, the third disengagement. He definitely got baited into stepping off the mound. And yeah, they probably don't have that rule in Japan, at least yet.
Yeah, true. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
But yeah, that'd be nuts if he never had a balk before.
That's what they said, but I don't know what stats there are for that.
Yeah, he picked a poor time to do it here with a runner on third. But yeah, Buehler only went 4 innings, which is bad on a good day, let alone a game that we'll see went 11 innings. He walked 4. He gave up 4 hits. Holiday doubled in the 5th. Vazquez was batting second in this game for some reason. Manzolino maybe picked his name out of a hat. I don't know. Maybe the computer they used to pick the lineup had a virus or something, because he was 2 for 26 before this game. But yeah, Holiday and Vazquez would score on back-to-back base hits from Mountcastle and Cowser. Mountcastle would later score on a wild pitch. The Red Sox used 3 pitchers in this inning. The Orioles are up 3-1.
That was basically it until the bottom of the 9th, with Geraldo on the mound. Romy Gonzalez walked, and then the previously mentioned new acquisition, Nathaniel Lowe, who was not good enough for the Nationals, hit a 2-run homer to tie the game for the Red Sox, and it was 3-3.
Yeah, he absolutely crushed it. Geraldo would load the bases. He only walked 4 batters in the inning. He threw 34 pitches, 12 strikes. There was a cool-ass moment in the bottom of the 8th, a colossal missed opportunity for Boston. Cade Stroud was especially bad. He gave up 2 hits and threw a wild pitch. He walked a guy. He threw on 9 pitches. He gave up 2 hits, a wild pitch, and walked a guy. Rico Garcia would come in and struck out the next 3 batters, 2 of them swinging. Durant, Story, and Yoshida, 3 of the best hitters on the team. So then after that, you get to see posts like Rico Garcia, 2026 bullpen.
Right. Was this the game where they didn't send the runner on Cowser's throw?
Yes, I think so. This game was...
What inning even was that?
Yeah, this game was wild. Boston would load the bases again in the 10th after loading them in the 9th.
Oh, I think that might have been the 11th when they didn't send him, right?
Yeah, maybe. Cano would get a double play from Toro to set up Samuel Basallo in the 11th.
Yeah, top of the 11th with Jeremiah Jackson at second base. Dylan Carlson grounded out, but that moved Jackson over to third. And Basallo came up against Garrett Whitlock. He had a full swing bunt, basically, and that ended up scoring Jackson, so it worked perfectly, if not for the intent. And that gave the Orioles a 4-3 lead.
4-3 win. 3 stars. Sugano number 1. Between him, Trevor Rogers, and Dean Kramer, they might be saving Drew French's job. This was one unearned run over 5 innings. Sugano's ERA is now under 4. I gave Samuel Basallo the 2nd star. This was before the extension. I said I've seen enough. He's already the best catcher on the team. He was 2 for 4, 5 RBI with runners in scoring position at this point in his career. And he entered the game as a pinch hitter and came up with the with the winning. I guess it was a base hit. I don't know, maybe a fielder's choice, but whatever.
No, he was thrown out at first, but yeah, it worked out.
And my third star, again, this is pre-extension, pre-Bob Nightengale report, is Adley Rutschman.
For not playing.
Yes. On a day when he was scratched, Bobby Witt, this is a Trojan horse for me to slurp Bobby Witt, basically. Bobby Witt hit his 100th career home run, becoming the fastest player in Royals history to reach that mark, besting Carlos Beltran in 2003. And with the leadership talk that we just rambled on about, I thought the quotes from the Royals manager were interesting. He said, "I want him up there every inning," and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's an intense pressure on a younger player to understand how everybody feels about him. But he has the physical ability, the makeup, and the mental capacity to do it. That's not things being said about the Orioles core currently.
It's true.
Nor how any of us feel about them.
Right.
Yeah, Witt also became the sixth shortstop in the past 95 years to hit at least 100 career homers through his age 25 season. This list includes Ryan Ripken's dad, Jennifer Lopez's ex-fiance, Francisco Lindor, and Carlos Correa, who had some help from a trash can, and Hanley Ramirez. And there's no particular reason why I would compare Adley to Bobby Witt.
No, not at all.
Because I'm told that Elias is an incredible drafter, so there's no reason to look into previous drafts.
Right. Yeah. You're right. I mean, Witt is clearly a better player. I don't think anybody, even the biggest Orioles fan, would debate you on that at this point.
There's a lot of people who...
Right now, people will still say that Rutschman was the right draft pick, which is not true. That's wrong. But right now, nobody would say in the major leagues so far, Rutschman has been better than Witt. There's no chance.
The Orioles clubhouse leader plays for the Royals, basically. But yeah, that might be the last time I do that Bobby Witt Adley thing. I don't know.
Maybe not, though.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse for Adley and better for Bobby Witt. So
right.
Yeah, it was for 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. The Red Sox were 0 for 13. The Red Sox bullpen 1 earned run over 7 innings. The only run allowed by the Red Sox bullpen was the game-winning ghost runner. And I just thought of something funny. How funny would that be if Adley was traded to the Royals and then played with Bobby Witt?
He could. I mean, Salvi's good, but he's getting up there in age. You never know.
Yeah, he's very old. I think their backup catcher's pretty good, isn't he? Isn't their backup catcher like some young...
I could not tell you who their backup catcher even is. This is kind of a weird little 2-game stint in Boston, but to take both of them from an actual real team when you're the Orioles is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're not dying as soon as they step off the bus anymore. So that's good. The Royals' backup catcher is none other than Luke Melee. He's 34 years old, batting 188 with 1 home run. So clearly I don't know what I'm talking about. Wednesday was an off day. We get Jason Alexander versus Brandon Young, fresh off his perfect game flirtation.
Yeah, and this was, I guess you can say the opposite of that, because that perfect game flirtation was against the Astros in Houston. He's now facing them in Baltimore, the same team. And top of the first, Carlos Correa reaches with a single. 2 batters later, Christian Walker hits a 2-run homer, and it's quickly 2-0 Houston.
Yeah, that's Walker's 17th home run of the season. It took the Astros 4 pitches to ruin Brandon Young's perfect game in this one, and it took them 10 to ruin the shutout. And I thought of something. Christian Walker and Tyler O'Neill had very similar 3-year contracts this year, and clearly Christian Walker's is currently better than the one Tyler O'Neill got.
He's at least playing. Like, that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Walker was like $10 or $12 million more expensive. But
Walker kind of sucked until like a month ago, but he has been hitting well lately.
yeah, if we were betting futures, I would bet Walker to decline while O'Neill could possibly, salvage the last year or two of his deal. He can't be this bad for the rest of this contract.
I don't know. If he wakes up in the morning, he might get hurt, though.
Yeah. As bad as it could have been is as bad as it's went for Tyler O'Neill and the Orioles.
Pretty much.
Caratini would lead off the second with a single. Then we get a fielder's choice. Young walks Melton on 9 pitches. The count had started 1-2. All of this leads to Correa's second base hit in as many innings. And then Dubon and Melton come around to score. Houston's up 4-0.
Bottom of the second, the O's get one back on Dylan Beaver's first career home run into the flag court in right field. That made it 4-1. Saw the guy make a nice clean catch on that, and then immediately the stadium staff was like, hey, come with us. We'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, who knows what he got. Remember that one guy got pictures with Jackson Holliday last year? I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. Is it rude to be like, yeah, this is Dylan Beaver's homer, but I'd rather have a bat signed by like Gunnar Henderson or something?
Yeah, you can pretty much call your shot. Like, if that's what you want, I would ask for it. I would just be like, give me 3 hats.
There you go.
I wouldn't want to meet him. I wouldn't want a picture. I wouldn't want to shake hands.
Don't touch me, Dylan Beavers.
Yeah, get away. You touch me, the deal's off. Yeah, that was it, though. It was 7-1 final. Astros would pick up 3 more in the third.
Yeah, 3 more in the third before Young even got an out.
Yeah, Young was especially bad, so did not build off the previous career game. I gave Dylan Beavers the first star for the home run. The second star I gave to the bullpen. Geraldo Wolfram and Corbin Martin held Houston scoreless for the final 3 2/3. And then the third star I gave to Orioles MLB.com reporter Jake Rill, simply for his Blue Sky post that made me laugh. It read, Astros 7, Dylan Beavers 2.
That is true. The only 2 RBIs of the game.
The Orioles had 9 hits. Every starter had 1 single hit.
That is weird. You're right. And the only one who didn't hit a single was Beavers.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that. That's
Nobody
funny.
else had an extra base hit.
There was a time this year where 9 hits would have seemed like a lot, because there was a long stretch where they were getting like 4 and 5 hits. So
I mean, they were out hit only by 3, but they were outscored by 5. So
yeah, they just weren't generating anything. Oh, you got anything else?
Yeah, real quick. Jesus Sanchez was 5 for 5 in this game. That's the dude who robbed a couple homers when they were in Houston recently.
Yeah, this guy's an Orioles.
Was he on
assassin.
the Marlins? Yes, he was. I'm just pulled up his picture with a Marlins hat.
Yeah, Houston pulled him out of his ass. Like, they haven't missed Kyle Tucker this season, which is pretty nuts.
Did you see the reports recently how like the Cubs basically gave him a mental break, and then they were like, oh yeah, he fractured his hand in June. Like, they just said that now after he'd been getting shit on for like a month for not hitting.
Oh man, I saw the mental break report. I didn't know about the fractured hand report.
Yeah, like that would piss me off if I was a player. Because if you say that yourself, it looks like you're being a baby. Like, the team should back you up. Be like, yeah, the dude hurt himself. Like, there's a reason. But that just came out after weeks of Cubs fans being like, why is this dude not hitting the ball?
If you're a fan, you want to know that the guy is hurt so you can cut him some slack without getting pissy.
That's what I said about Adley last year. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather know that he's hurt rather than be like, oh, he sucks and we don't know why.
This isn't hockey. You don't need to hide their injuries like that.
Right. They're not going to like throw at his hand. I mean, I guess
No,
they could, but that would be dumb.
Yeah. Lance McCullers versus Cade Povich on Friday. This was the Samuel Basallo extension day. After going 6 up, 6 down in the first 2 innings, Povich blew up in the third. Inning started with a leadoff walk. Then there's a throwing error, a sacrifice bunt, a second throwing error. And this was all before Jeremy Pena would crush a 3-run homer into the bird bath. Astros up 4-0.
This is a random aside, but it's kind of crazy to me that Jeremy Pena played college baseball at the University of Maine. And I knew that. And I think last summer we went up to Portland and we were in the airport and there was an ad for like University of Maine athletics. And there was a picture of Jeremy Pena in his Maine baseball uniform. It's just so random.
Yeah, maybe that's racist of me. I would have never guessed he played for the University of Maine.
He grew up in Providence, I think, Rhode Island. Of course, you know that, but others might. Yeah, went to Maine. Who the hell plays baseball at Maine?
Yeah, I have a Maine hockey shirt.
I like their colors. I think the navy with the like sky blue it's a good look.
Great job though of them replacing Correa with Jeremy Pena and then replacing Kyle Tucker with the Sanchez guy and Cam Smith.
Well, and they haven't had Yordan Alvarez most of the year too.
Yeah, they're an impressive franchise. I wrote them off a year or two ago and they just laughed in my face.
Right. Let's see. Bottom of the fourth, Mayo and Beavers lead off with walks. Alex Jackson hit his first single of the season here to score Mayo. How wild is that?
Yeah, that's fun.
And then 2 batters later, Jeremiah Jackson doubles, scores Beavers and Alex Jackson, and it was 4-3.
Povich would get the first 2 outs in the 5th before walking Correa. Altuve singles. And here's where I don't understand Tony Manzolino. The bullpen is patchwork at best. I think we can all agree on that. Matt Bowman pitched in this game. I didn't even know he was back on the roster.
Right.
Povich was at 96 pitches after 4 2/3. Like, what's the rush to get him out of there? Let him pitch through this. If he gives up the kill shot, who cares? Because the guy coming in from the bullpen is who they are. And that's what happened. Cano came in, and Christian Walker immediately hit one into the harbor. Orioles are down 7-3.
Yeah, I agree at this point in the season. Like, literally nothing matters. Like, there was a play I think we forgot to mention against the Red Sox, or maybe it was a Houston game, where Basallo threw to second on a ball 4, and it got into the outfield, and the runner advanced to third. But, it doesn't matter. Like, you just learn from it, but who gives a shit? Same thing. Like, leave Povich in. Who cares if he gives them more runs?
Yeah, just let him get that last batter, especially a guy like Povich.
Right. Also, Cano might be just washed.
Yeah, that seems like a fluke that season. Like,
it was fun, and it helped.
It was very
got him
fun.
to the playoffs. But yeah, I think he's toast.
He's not even tradable.
Yeah. Well, you never know, I guess. But
Dubin is in for Houston in the 6th. Beavers and Vasquez and Alex Jackson would load the bases with 3 consecutive singles. Jackson Holiday and Jeremiah Jackson would each bring in a run with groundouts. Houston made a pitching change. In comes O'Kirk, who would get Gunnar to strike out swinging on 3 pitches with a runner on third base.
Bottom 7, the O's are facing Eniel De Los Santos. With 1 out, Colton Cowser hits a home run to make it 7-6.
And then I mentioned Matt Bowman is back. He got in the game here. He would allow the first 2 batters into scoring position with a single and a double. In comes Corbin Martin. He serves up back-to-back doubles. Carantini and Jeremy Pena would hit those. This game is all but over other than a Vial Machine garbage time home run, his 2nd career home run. And both have come against the Astros.
Astros killer. Yeah, this was don't know. Just one of those games where I don't really care. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I guess basically the plus here was like they scored 7 runs and went down early and didn't just roll over like they have most of the season. I think a lot of that can be chalked up to these young guys. Just I don't know, like those veterans that were traded, they were a part of some pretty embarrassing baseball
It's true.
that was being played, and yeah, these guys are showing some fight. It's like they don't even know that they're not supposed to be here.
Right. You know who the only O's pitcher that didn't allow a run was?
I do. He got my number 1 star. You want to tell him?
Cade Stroud. Prized Mike Elias draft pick.
Don't let anybody tell you Elias can't draft pitching, because he was one of 5 pitchers to not give up a run here.
The only one of 5 pitchers.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. He's in the conversation for a bullpen job next season. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. I'm fine with it for now, like considering what else they got. All you can really go on is what they've done this year, right?
Yeah, he hasn't embarrassed himself. He's cheap and optionable, which is something they need.
For sure. That's something they love, too. Let's be honest.
The second star I gave to Machine for the home run. And the third star I gave to some kid in the bird path who caught Jeremy Pena's home run ball.
Nice. Machine is such a good name, too.
Yeah, it's a cool name. He's like 32 years old.
Yeah, good for him. This is the time of year where you just do fun things like that.
Yeah, that's basically all we have to look forward to is like Machine home runs. What if he ended up leading the team in homers? That'd be funny.
I mean,
he's not
won't,
that far away.
Right.
He's only 14 behind Gunner, 15.
Yeah. Maybe he'll go on a tear. Sammy Sosa in September, 20 homers in a month.
Yeah, let's juice him up. Sell some tickets. After the game, Cade Povich shared that his wife had received some threatening posts. And if you're betting on Cade Povich, you need help.
That was kind of my thought, too, to be honest. I'm like, how are you mad that Cade Povich didn't win you a game?
Yeah, like we shouldn't need to say don't send players and their families threatening posts. Don't do that. But, like, I don't know what's more disturbing. You sending the posts or betting on Cade Povich to do anything. Or the Orioles, for that matter.
I also think that it's not necessarily an Orioles fan who did that. Like, anyone can bet on anything. So I'm not saying it wasn't an O's fan, but there's also a good chance it wasn't.
Yeah, they're going to have to start, like, charging these people with serious crimes.
There are ways to trace that stuff, for sure.
Yeah, there has to be now.
Nothing is completely anonymous online.
Yeah.
I cannot even imagine, even if I'm like hammered drunk, just thinking like, yeah, I should totally send a threatening message to this athlete. Like who thinks that way?
Yeah, it's not healthy behavior. That's
no.
That's putting it mildly. And then like finding his wife's name, like I'm gonna find out this guy's wife's name. Right. So sorry you have to put up with that, Mrs. Povich.
Right.
That might be the name of the episode title, Mrs. Povich. Nah, she's suffered enough this week.
Yeah, let's leave her alone.
Yeah, sorry. Saturday, this is Samuel Basallo press conference day. We get Christian Javier versus Dean Kramer again.
Dean Kramer on a good streak, but that would sort of end because he started off by walking Jeremy Pena, and then Carlos Correa hit a home run, and with no outs, they were down 2-0 already.
Yeah, I feel bad. If you take away, they mentioned this during the broadcast, if you take away Dean Kramer's April, his numbers are really good. They're like, they're not quite Trevor Rogers like, because he's having an historic performance, but they're really good. And last week on the episode, I said, Dean Kramer can win you a playoff series. Obviously, I don't think you should plan on Dean Kramer winning you a playoff series, but if he gets hot the way he does, he could shut a team down for 2 starts in a week. But that did not happen this week. This was bad. He served up 3 homers in the first 6 batters. Correa, Sanchez, and Carantini combined for 1,208 feet worth of long balls.
Yeah, there was a lot of fireworks in the first, though, because in the Orioles turn at bat, Holiday and Jeremiah Jackson walked. Gunnar singled to score Holiday. And with 2 outs, Colton Cowser singled to score Jeremiah Jackson and Gunnar. And it was 5-3 after 6 outs.
Yeah, they're battling back after going down early again. Dean would go 3 up, 3 down in the second, and Javier's struggles continued. Beavers would reach base on an error and steal second. Machine would walk. Holiday would move them both over on a ground out. Holiday's really good at moving runners over on like ground outs. I've noticed. Like,
is that a good skill to have?
That's what I'm wondering.
A compliment?
I don't know. It seems like, all right, we'll take that, but you're not. You maybe in the future those will be singles instead of just ground outs.
It does seem like he rolls them over to the right side a lot.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to do that. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah, the Gunner would draw a 2-out walk to load the bases for Mountcastle. He struck out swinging with 2 on in the first inning, but he came through in this one with a single. This game is all tied up.
All tied up, but not for long, because in the top of the third, Altuve singled, Sanchez doubles, and with 1 out, Victor Caratini hits a grounder to the third base, and this was just a shit show. They threw Caratini out at first. Kobe Mayo's throw home was bad. Basallo couldn't handle it, so Sanchez scored. Altuve scored, and Sanchez was running from second base, rounded third, didn't even stop, and he scored as well. And that was like kind of a little league play and put the Orioles down 7-5.
Yeah, Basallo is a very large man, so to get to the ball the way Mayo spiked it into the ground was probably not going to happen. Yeah, Mayo's been very good at first base, but I guess the takeaway is you just never, ever want to see him throw the ball.
Right. They don't often have to, but yeah, first base to home is not difficult, if you take your time, and yeah, you have an enormous target.
Basically, whenever I would go to a Tides game and Mayo's at third base, he threw a ball like that every single game I went to. He played third base. So, yeah, that didn't really surprise me there. Jeremiah Jackson and Colton Cowser would each hit solo home runs in the 4th and 5th innings off Blue Ball. The game's tied at 7. Blue Ball was called up before the game. He threw 4 innings of relief.
Blue Ball, good name. Top 7, Dietrich Enns on the mound. Altuve had a 1-out single, and then with 2 outs, Christian Walker, Orioles legend, killing them again, hits a home run and makes it 9-7 Astros.
Yeah, Christian Walker revenge tour continued. This was his 3rd consecutive game with a home run, so he hit one, in the final game of their previous series. That does it. Jeremiah Jackson would drive in Beavers in the 8th, but the Orioles fall short, 9-8.
Yep. Another game where, at least there's a lot of runs scored, so you can be entertained while they lose.
Yeah, it's good to just at least be finding new ways to lose.
It's a lot more fun than losing like 3-1 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, where they go like 7 innings without getting a base runner.
Right.
Yeah. Dylan Beavers keeps reaching base, though. 15 times in 7 games. He is the only Orioles player to ever do that. He was my first star.
Really? That's impressive.
Yeah. Jake Rill had that stat. I gave the 3rd star to Jeremiah Jackson for his first career home run, 439 feet. That was the 2nd longest first career home run as an Oriole. Do you have a guess who the first 2 people are? They're both pretty recent.
The longest first home run?
Yeah, as an Oriole. I'll give you the years. Okay. One was October 3rd, 2021. He's the son of a former major leaguer. a former number 1 overall draft pick, a former manager of the Angels.
Nevin?
Yep, Tyler Nevin.
Okay. Would have never guessed him if you didn't give me those clues.
The next guy, this was July 31st of 2024. He hit it 439 feet as well. He is also the son of a former major leaguer, and his dad drives him to work.
Yeah, I was going to say Holiday, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good company, I guess.
Yeah.
And the second star. So Ramon Urias made a diving play at second base on Basallo for the final out of this game. And my second star goes to Jamie, who is at Steady Hand Castle on Blue Sky, because as part of a conversation she was having with somebody about Urias, she made the comment that Urias was traded for a fart. And that really made me laugh because I just imagined the Houston general manager farting into the phone during trade negotiations.
What did they even get for him? I don't even know.
That was Twine Palmer.
Oh, yeah, Twine. Oh, God.
Yeah. So hats off to at Steady Handcastle for the extremely funny post of Ramon Urias being traded for a fart.
Well, if we ever see Twine in the majors, we'll have to remember that.
Just call him the human fart.
Right.
There's an episode title, The Human Fart.
There you go.
Yeah, prior to the game, Dean had been 4-0 with a Trevor Rogers 1.47 ERA and 5 career starts versus Houston. So this was out of nowhere bad for him. There seemed to be some miscommunication after the first inning where Basallo went to give him his Adley greeting, and Dean was pretty much like, what the fuck's going on? Did we have a miscommunication here?
Mm-hmm.
And this was Jim Palmer jersey giveaway day. They're going for about $40 on eBay after the game. Those were nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Kramer he had 4 strikeouts and allowed 1 less home run with 3.
He did a good job of staying in the game after that, even though he gave up 7 runs, which is bad. That's a big deal to stay in the fight and just not like the way Walker Buehler did in the Red Sox game where they had to use 11 relievers after them. Kramer was able to, steady the game to at least get an extra inning or 2.
Right. Yeah, this so Saturday my wife's Uncle Mike passed away. He was a big Astros fan from the Houston area. He had cancer and it was very sad, and he was a good man, but I was kind of happy that the Astros beat the O's for him on that day. And the 2 previous.
Was there a service and stuff?
Not yet. No, I mean he just died on Saturday. So he had cancer that spread very quickly and it was all very fast, and it sucked. But
Sorry
big
to hear
Astros
that.
fan, loved baseball, so was happy that the Astros beat the O's for him.
Yeah, I got a win on this one for him. They would not get a win on Sunday, though, because Trevor Rogers is on the mound and he is unbeatable.
That is practically true.
He faced Spencer Arrighetti, and I went on his baseball reference page. His nickname is Spaghetti.
It should be. Yeah, his name sounds like a pasta itself, so I guess that makes sense.
His ERA was sky high coming into this game. He was very good.
Yeah, he was good last year. I know this because he's on my fantasy team. He was good last year and then started out this year pretty well, but then in April he got hit by a batting practice ball on the hand, and he broke his thumb and just returned a month ago, but he has not been very good since returning.
No, Gunnar Henderson would hit his team-leading 16th home run in the first inning off of Arrighetti, and the Astros would tie it up in the third on a Jeremy Pena RBI single that would score Cam Smith, who walked on 4 pitches and stole second. And this game was tied at 1 for a while after that. After some high-scoring games, we had a pitching duel.
Yeah. Anytime Rogers is involved now, the O's have a chance. And in the bottom of the 6th, the O's got back on the board. Gunnar singled, then stole both second and third. Then he scored on a single by Mountcastle. This was after he should have walked, and the umpire made a terrible call, but he just hit the next pitch in the right field and scored Henderson anyways, and it was 2-1.
Yeah, and then Luis Vazquez, he's still here. He made his presence felt with a 416-foot home run. It's 3-1.
In the top of the eighth, the Astros got one back with Rico Garcia on the mound. Correa singled, Walker singled, and then Victor Caratini hit a sac fly to left, scored Correa, and that made it 3-2.
Yeah, this was messy. Those were two infield singles. There were no errors on the play. And I saw a stat that was fun to see this week where Gunnar hasn't made an error in like 61 games. So hats off to him on the improved defense this season.
Yeah, his throwing used to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I've called out his defense a lot the last like year or so. And I mean, he's clearly making some progress. Maybe he is a shortstop. Who knows?
Maybe.
I'd still put him at third though.
Right.
Yeah, Keegan Aiken worked the ninth. He struck out 3 of the 5, and the Orioles win 3-2.
Yeah, O's got a W. Like to see them not get swept at home. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that would have been a 4-game mop.
Yeah, it's nice that that's not the case.
The 3 stars, Trevor Rogers. It's funny, like he's not even supposed to be in the rotation, and he's doing this. Like I think we forget that he was like playing G for the starting rotation this season. He got 9 strikeouts, his most in a game since September 12th, 2022. That's 11 straight starts of 2 runs or less.
His ERA is down to 1.40 after this.
That's the thing. His ERA has been the same like the last 3 or 4 starts because it can't get any lower.
Yeah, like if he allows a run, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's amazing. 3, 4, 5 hitters, which is Gunnar, Mountcastle, Basallo. They went 5 for 10 with 2 runs, 2 RBI. And the Astros bullpen, specifically Craig Kimbrell and John Rooney, were my 3rd star. Kimbrell made his Astros debut in the 8th inning. Say what you want about Kimbrell, but for a guy with his resume to be available in a pinch at this time of year for a team looking to plug a hole in their bullpen because Josh Hader got injured, you could do worse than, of taking a flyer on Craig Kimbrell.
Hey, if they get first half Kimbrell of last year, he's good.
He gave up a single to, I think it was Daniel Johnson, and it was just typical what we saw from Kimbrell last year during the meltdown. And they mentioned that runners last year were 15 of 16 stealing off Kimbrell. And Johnson was running and he got caught stealing and he was thrown out by, I think the catcher was Diaz. And I was thinking like, okay, Craig Kimbrell is obviously to blame for runners running on him at will last year, but also maybe he didn't have much help from the catching position. But John Rooney, this was his major league debut. He had been in the minors since 2018. He was acquired from the Marlins on August 3rd. He's a 3rd rounder by the Dodgers out of Hofstra. So the Astros are desperately seeking bullpen help.
Probably not many 3rd rounders out of Hofstra, huh?
Yeah, who took 7 years to make it to the major leagues.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm rooting for Craig Kimbrell. I don't hate him. I'm sure many Orioles fans do. I'm not one of them.
I don't hate him. I just choose to forget him.
You have a player of the week?
I'm gonna go with Basallo. Got that extension. That's player of the week material, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's who I had too. He could have went like 0 for 30 this week. He probably still would have got it.
He's the only Oriole we know who's going to be here after like 2 seasons from now.
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, he's basically, if everything goes right, you hope it doesn't go like the Chris Davis route. But if everything goes right, like he'll be the new Adam Jones.
It's not the financial commitment of Chris Davis, so that's one thing. If it flames out terribly, it's half of that.
Yeah, that's fun. Like, what a cool thing to happen. Something I totally gave up on.
Right. It feels weird being super excited for something like this, but because I was convinced it would never happen for the Orioles, it's actually like, oh yeah, this is great.
And the cynic in me is also like, cool, let's see another one, but I'll wait on that for at least like spring training. I'll try and tamp that thought down.
Right, right.
I think if you could do Cowser and Westberg, that'd be great. Rogers like scares me. As great as he's been, I'm gonna have to see like another 20 starts.
Yeah, you don't want to do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, more extensions, please. If they sign extensions and the team sucks, like I would be able to live with that. I wouldn't be able to live with watching all these guys walk away after 2 years. The way I thought it was going to happen, and still could, just other than Basallo.
Right.
No mailbag, nothing good. I got a quiz. This is not the greatest quiz, I'm not going to lie. I'm hoping it'll lead to some discussion about some of the options in the quiz.
Okay.
And here it is. This is Baseball Hall of Famer or Rock and Roll Hall of Famer?
Okay.
20 questions, 4 minutes.
It shouldn't be
Each
that
pairing,
hard.
Yeah, the 2 options I saw when I was testing quizzes, this is pretty amateur.
Okay.
Each pairing includes 1 member of the Baseball Hall of Fame and 1 member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Can you correctly pick the ball player?
All right.
Neil Young or Cy Young?
Cy Young.
That was cool when Neil Young pulled all his stuff off Spotify, even though it didn't accomplish anything. James Hetfield and Dave Winfield.
Metallica or Dave Winfield?
I'm not a huge Metallica fan.
I'm not either.
I would say my favorite song of theirs is Sad But True.
I feel like I've heard it, but couldn't tell you how it goes.
Yeah, they're a big deal. Ozzie Smith or Ozzy Osbourne?
This is a silly quiz.
Yeah. I'd like to see Ozzy Osbourne do a backflip.
I mean, he can't now.
That's true. He's R.I.P. Roy Orbison or Roy Campanella?
Okay. Yeah, we know who that is. Campanella.
Jackie Robinson or Smokey Robinson?
Famously broke the barrier. Smokey Robinson.
Lou Reed or Lou Brock?
Lou Reed went to Syracuse for, I think, a bit.
Oh, I don't know much about Lou Reed. All I know is Velvet Underground.
Right.
I've never really listened to him. Yep, that's Lou Brock. Ringo Starr or Willie Stargell?
Imagine Willie Stargell playing drums for the Beatles.
I saw Willie Stargell coaching first base for the Braves in like the mid 80s on a game I threw on. I was falling asleep one night, and it blew my mind seeing him in something other than a Pirates uniform.
Right.
Willie Mays or Brian May? I don't know who Brian May is. I think he's Queen.
Is he maybe. I was going to say Beach Boys, but you might be. Let's Google him.
Ooh, that'd be a fun one for this. Brian Wilson or Brian Wilson?
He is Queen. You're right.
Okay. We snuck into that Queen movie. We saw The Mule, and as we were leaving, the Queen movie was starting. We just wandered in.
Oh, I never saw that. I should watch it.
It's decent. It got slaughtered by the critics, though. But we liked it. Eddie Collins or Phil Collins?
Oh, you know what's a good soundtrack that's underrated is Tarzan, because Phil Collins did that.
Oh, he was a big deal in the 80s.
Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of forgotten for how big he was.
Right.
Tony Iommi or Tony Lazzari?
I don't even know the first guy. I know Tony Lazzari played for the Yankees, but...
See, I don't know Tony Lazzari, but I know Tony Iommi. I'm pretty sure he was like Ozzy's guitarist or Black Sabbath.
How do you spell it?
Iommi.
He was, Co-founded Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Tony Lazzari, I think, was part of the 27 Murderers Row.
Okay. Billy Wagner or Bill Withers?
Obviously. Bill Withers is a name I've heard, but did he do the Lovely Day song?
Or did he do
No,
Stand By Me?
He did Lean on Me. That's what he did.
Okay. I was close.
Yeah.
Roger Daltrey or Rogers Hornsby?
Daltrey was Pink Floyd?
I think he was The Who.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I don't know a lot about classic rock. Yeah, he was The Who.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of these bands I know like periphery. Oh, I clicked the wrong button, so we got one wrong. Phil Rizzuto or Tom Morello, who I watched play Guitar Hero once.
Okay. We both know Tom Morello.
Barry Larkin or Barry Gibb?
Barry Gibb was Bee Gees, right?
Yeah. I had Barry Larkin's wife's autograph, Lisa Larkin, on a baseball card once.
Is she like a person who's done something?
No, they were doing like an autograph show in Ohio where my like uncles and cousins live, and they went to the autograph show and they were like, "We got you a Lisa Larkin autograph." And I was like,
that's so weird.
Thanks. Hopefully she never received a threatening post from someone.
Yeah, I don't know who she is. Like, I Googled her. There's a doctor on here named Lisa Larkin. There's a few of them. I don't know.
I wonder if I still have the card. It would be at my parents' house if I do. Ron Santo or Rick Danko? I don't know who Rick Danko is.
Rick Danko. Let's look him up. He was a founding member of the band.
Okay. I think I watched a documentary on them a few years ago that was pretty good.
He's Canadian. From Ontario.
Ooh, David Lee Roth or Tony La Russa?
They both probably drink the same amount.
I am not a Tony La Russa fan.
I know you're not.
I would rather have David Lee Roth manage the Orioles next season than Tony La Russa.
It would at least be funny.
Al Kaline or Al Green?
Al Green. He's like a soul singer.
What's funny about this is we did pretty poorly because we ran out of time and I pressed the wrong button. We're only going to end up with 12 of 20.
Well, we know them all.
Frank Thomas or Frank Zappa?
Ooh. I only know Frank Zappa really for the batshit names he gave his children.
Yeah, I've never really listened to him either.
Oh, he's from Baltimore. Did not know that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Ernie Banks or Tony Banks? Who's Tony Banks?
Who is Tony Banks? Let's look him up.
I know the former quarterback Tony Banks. He played for the Ravens.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about him. Tony Banks, musician, and English. Oh, Genesis. So with Phil Collins,
okay,
the keyboardist.
Paul Simon or Paul Molitor?
I like Paul Simon. Simon and Garfunkel. Some of their old stuff is very chill, and I like it.
There was this show we watched earlier this year on Peacock. It's called Laid. It was one season. It was pretty funny. But there's a scene where she's in the back of a car in like a sad situation, and a Paul Simon song comes on, and she just starts singing it, and it really made me laugh hard.
Yeah, I like him.
I recommend that show Laid to anybody who has Peacock and is looking for something to watch.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, so we did know them all. Yeah, it was interesting to talk about the musicians.
Yeah, that worked out about as well as I thought it would. But remember, I've been saying we're running low on quizzes, and this is just proof of that.
It's true. There's probably a bunch on like Sporkle or something.
How many musicians? There were some baseball playing musicians like Bronson Arroyo. This came up recently.
Who was the country? Oh, this came up the other day in the car. We were listening to the radio and they talked about There's a baseball player, country artist. What was his name?
Lil Slay.
Charlie Pride. That's who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
He like played in the majors and made music.
Joe West, the umpire, he makes music.
Does he really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has albums out.
Huh. I had no idea.
See if he's on Spotify.
See, did Charlie Pride make the majors?
Oh, that's not that Joe West.
No, he made the minors. He played in the Negro League, so yeah, that's close enough. Some majors.
Scott Radinsky was in 10-Foot Pole, who was a punk band in the 90s.
Oh yeah, you talked about him before.
Joe West umpire music. Yeah, he calls himself Country Joe West. Cowboy Joe. So, yeah, anything for Brew Notice this week? Brewers didn't come across my radar at all this week.
I didn't watch them, to be honest. Let me see. Let me pull up their schedule. Maybe I did and I don't recall. I know they played the Giants in the second half.
Ooh, they're struggling. 4-6 in their last 10.
I watched a little bit of a couple of Cubs games, but yeah, they lost 3 of 4 to them. And then, let's see. Did they beat the Giants today? No, they lost. So, wow. So they lost 3 of 4 to the Cubs and 2 of 3 to the Giants.
They're the only team with over 80 wins currently.
I was looking at the Rangers' remaining schedule for the year. Like, is there anything worth going to see? And basically the only interesting games they have at home that are left are the Brewers and the Astros. And the rest of them are just not interesting.
Yeah, who's been more disappointing, the Rangers or the Orioles this season?
I mean, the Rangers are only 1 game under 500, so I'd say definitely the Orioles.
How is DeGrom doing?
Last I heard, he's been good, but I also haven't paid attention.
Yeah, I remember he had good numbers when they faced the Orioles, but that was a while ago.
He's got a 2.76 ERA. He's 10-5, so he's doing fine.
Wow.
Eovaldi's leading the majors in ERA. He's got a 1.73.
That's why I think the Rangers might be a little bit more disappointing, because
he's somebody the Orioles could have easily signed this year.
Eovaldi?
Yeah.
I'd like to see them get DeGrom.
I mean, it's possible Eovaldi was like, I'm not going to Baltimore for whatever reason, but they could have offered him at least.
Thrown some money at him. Yeah, that's it. Anything for Media Corner?
I watched Final Destination 5. I have now seen all the Final Destinations. It was predictably ridiculous and funny. The opening scene that kind of feeds into the rest of the movie is a bridge collapse. And a bunch of people die in ridiculous ways. A woman falls off the bridge right under the top of a sailboat on top of the mast, and it just impales her. Like shit like that. It's just ridiculous.
Is there a spinoff of Final Destination? Or is it
Not
just
that I
all
know
contained
of.
of Final Destination?
No. But yeah, like every movie starts with somebody having a vision, and then that like turns out to be true, but they kind of, because they had the vision, they escape dying, but then death comes and tries to get everybody who should have died instead. Oh, actually the twist at the end is interesting, because the beginning of Final Destination 1 is a kid, they're on like a class trip, they're going over to Paris or something, and they're on a plane, and he has a vision of the plane crashing. So he freaks out and gets off. And then at the end of Final Destination 5, the main character and his girlfriend are like, oh, we survived, everything's over, and they're going to Paris. And then the guy freaks out and gets off the plane, and then they end up crashing and dying. And that brings it full circle.
That's the final movie. The final
Well,
scene
it's
of the
Final
final
Destination 5, and then the Bloodlines one came out. That's the last one.
That's the new one.
Yeah. And that one goes back to like the 60s or something.
That's what led you on this path, was seeing that in the theater.
Yeah.
This summer.
Seeing that with some friends, and I was like, well, I should just watch them all. They're all on HBO Max, so.
Speaking of the bridge collapse, Supreme Leader said he is going to pull the funding for Baltimore repairing their bridge today.
I would normally say that that's not going to happen, but at this point, I don't think anyone will tell him no. So.
Yep. So that's fun. Yeah, I finished Tina Fey's Bossy Pants audiobook. That was good. It was only like 5.5 hours. That was an easy listen.
The cover of that is unnerving. How she has like big man arms.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a delight. Great writer, just a great mind. I'm back on a sports book because I did the music and the Tina Fey book. So now I'm Joe Posnanski's Why We Love Baseball. I got like 10, they're not really chapters, they're kind of just stories or events.
Mm-hmm.
I got through like 10 of those.
Nice.
Before I ran out of audiobook time. I saw the Riff Tracks movie Time Cop, where 3 comedians comment over the movie as it's being played. I went to the theater and saw that. That was fun.
Was that like Mystery Science Theater?
Yeah. It's basically the same thing.
Nice.
Just without the robots.
I remember seeing that as a kid, and like I'm sure I didn't appreciate that it was funny back then. I should watch it now as an adult.
Yeah, that was a good show on Comedy Central, like after school all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were good. I think these guys, they're called Riff Tracks. I think they were a part of Mystery Science Theater at one time and broke off and started doing this.
Okay.
They're older. But yeah, they put these movies in the theater every once in a while. They're crowdfunded. They at the end of the movie, they have their thanks and they show pictures of everybody who donated the movies. But yeah, I'd never seen Time Cop, and you're not missing anything by having these people talk over it. So
it makes it sound like
to see it.
RoboCop or something.
I was asking people this at work the next day, who would win in a fight, RoboCop or Time Cop, and after annoying like the 5th person, they were like RoboCop. I started asking who has the better pension, RoboCop or Time Cop.
RoboCop was filmed in Dallas.
Okay, Time Cop was set in DC.
Oh,
so
okay.
If he were real, he'd be helping keep that in peaceful now.
Yeah, right.
Remake Time Cop now, or he just walks the streets of DC.
Well, in that case, he would just go hang out in all the touristy areas where there's no crime anyways.
I don't know if I'd ever seen a Van Damme. Oh, no, that's not true. I at least saw Street Fighter before.
Isn't he in, what was that movie with the Pittsburgh Penguins? Sudden Death.
Saw that. Yeah, I saw that as well.
Where he like fights the mascot in the bowels of the arena and stuff.
That just shows like how forgettable he is. Watching Time Cop, I really didn't understand how he became the huge star he did.
I think the 80s, he was in the role of like, he didn't play Drago, but he was a similar, like, Steven Seagal was a famous for some reason too. Same deal.
Yeah, like thinking about it now, he's just like a poor man Schwarzenegger.
Right. If you want somebody with a little more agility, less muscle.
Yeah. So, yeah, Time Cop. Who we got this week? We got any days off this week? That's probably more important. Who we playing?
No. They have.
It's a 7-game week.
7-game week. O's go to Boston for 4. Then they're flying across the country. Giants for 3. And they'll stay out there to play the Padres for 3 after that.
Oh, my God. So on top of the 7 games, 6 of the next 13, is that right? 10?
6 of the next 10 are late. Well, actually, they're not too bad. They have weird times. Friday night is at 10:15 Eastern, San Francisco. Saturday's 7:15, Sunday's 4:05, Monday's 6:40, Tuesday's 9:40, but then Wednesday's 4:10. So really only 2 late games.
Okay, that's good. I saw Laureano is killing it with the Padres.
He's been doing very well. Yeah.
That'd be funny if he's just like a late bloomer in the second half of his career. He's like a perennial all-star.
Wouldn't shock me. I mean, I don't expect it, but yeah, so far in 21 games with the Padres, he has a 977 OPS.
How's O'Hearn doing?
I don't think quite as well, but I don't think he's doing badly. Let's see.
Yeah.
So far for O'Hearn in 19 games, he has an 877 OPS. So he's 100 points lower than Laureano, but still good.
Yeah, this is another guy who leaves and starts doing better.
I also, before today's games, the Padres had taken first place in the West. Let's see where they're at now. Oh, they're tied now with the Dodgers. They're both 74 and 57. That's fun.
Yeah, that's great. Nobody wants to see the Dodgers win unless you're like a pervert or something.
Right. I think the only reason I would root for the Dodgers is just to watch what Ohtani does in the playoffs. But if they get like I don't need them to be there. I'd rather see the Brewers and the Padres. I think that would be sweet.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Dodgers. It's just like a freak show. That the only reason why you're tuning in is for this curiosity of Ohtani being such a freak.
Right. Yeah, the NL East teams, Phillies, Mets, like I don't need any of that. I don't care about them. But Brewers, Dodgers, Padres, I think one of them would be fun.
Yeah, sign me up for the Padres. I'd like to see Laureano win something. That'd be fun. I really fell in love with that guy this year.
I'm looking at the AL now, like pretty underwhelming. The Tigers have the best record, but I feel like they don't score. Like they're.
Ooh, how's Charlie Morton doing?
How is Morton doing? I don't think he's doing nearly as well as O'Hearn or Laureano. Relative.
I saw he had one good start, like 1 run over 6.
He has made 4 starts. He's actually doing all right. His ERA plus is 1.16. Has a 3.63 ERA. He's 2-2. So he's actually done better than he has for the Orioles.
I saw he had quotes where this was like this week, he said, like 2025 will always bug me because there's a group of guys I really let down. I want to say, like, Charlie Morton, you're off the hook in my eyes for this season. Like, you might have been the first problem, but you were by far not the only problem. And judging by some of these comments that keep happening, like leadership was a huge issue. And as a new guy on the team, you couldn't have been expected to come in and fill that in such a short amount of time.
He started off completely dog shit, but he righted himself by the end. Enough to get traded to a legit team. Like, that's impressive to start that bad. You would not be traded to the best team in the AL and be a part of their rotation if you were not decent, at least.
Like, there's a chance he could pitch again next season the way he's pitched since that.
He's made 27 starts this year. He made 30 last year, 30 the year before. Like, he's right there.
Yeah, those 6 weeks were the outlier, not the norm for him.
Right. No, it's crazy looking back. Started playing in the majors in 2008. It's ancient history. I'm going to go see how much he's made.
Oh, let me guess.
All right. Holy crap. That's higher than I thought.
Yeah, I was thinking pretty high. I don't want to overshoot it. I'll say 120 million.
160.
Wow.
That's sick. Let's see how Gregory Soto's doing.
Oh, I saw he pitched 2/3 of an inning last night and walked a guy and struck out a guy.
The Mets, 0 ERA, 10 innings, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, 7 hits, 1 unearned run. So he's killing it seems like.
We know Reyes is doing pretty well.
Sir Anthony. He has a 4.66 ERA, 9 2/3, 12 strikeouts, 7 walks. That's not good. 5 earned runs. So he's not doing so well, but fuck the Blue Jays. Ramon Arias. The O's used to have the only 2 Ramones in the majors. Now they have none. Arias is in 16 games, has a 787 OPS, which is better than he ever did for the Orioles, basically. So, yeah. Shocking that all but one of those guys we just looked up have gotten better since leaving this dumpster fire.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yes, it is.
Well, hopefully everyone else will be doing better this week. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Go O's, go Brewers, go former O's.